So I've been in the markets for 8 years now. Really wanted to do a video that deep dives into what it really takes to become a trader, how difficult it really is, how testing, but also how it's been the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. So in this video, I'm going to be talking through my journey from, I'm not going to say start to finish because I consider myself an eternal student to the markets, and we never really finish, right? It's always constant progression, constantly grinding, improving your edge every day. But yeah, I'll be talking through my journey from the start to where I am now. I started off completely lost, obviously. Didn't really know where I was going with it at all. The main appeal of trading was that there was no ceiling. What I mean by that is there was no cap to how much money you could make. And if you truly dedicate yourself to it, it can afford you a life and lifestyle like no other. So I threw myself completely in. I dedicated myself wholeheartedly to the journey and the endeavor to become a successful trader. At the beginning, I had zero direction, zero idea what I was doing, of course. Got lost in Twitter a lot and searching around for different people's styles, their approaches in the market, different forms of technical analysis, and ultimately getting really very confused. Trying out loads of different styles and stances in the market, and really just sort of jumping around, right? System hopping and trying to find my feet in the markets, trying to find the approach to TA that best suited me and spoke to me the most, I think. And it was a very antisocial time for me. I pretty much sacrificed everything. I went full-time right from the beginning and started seeing my friends a lot less. Just was completely obsessed with it, right? Was completely obsessed, threw myself in, and I think it helped that I was really fascinated by it all as well. So yeah, I went full-time from the get-go. Not saying that you need to do that. I'm just talking about me and my journey. And after 6 months of going full-time, I was on government benefits, so broke as hell. All of my friends on good salaries, making good cash. I couldn't even go to the pub with them because I couldn't afford a pint. That's where I was at the beginning. And that became sort of like a cycle where, because I couldn't afford to do anything outside of the house, and bear in mind, I'm talking about London, miserable weather, so you can't really do anything, cost-free like you can in sunnier countries. And it became a cycle, a sort of negative cycle, whereby, I couldn't afford to do anything. So I was just, again, in my office at my house, studying again. It was night and day at the beginning, really full on. And yeah, I saw my mates a bit, but mainly it was just me and my girlfriend, now wife. She was my rock through it all. She completely understood the dedication that it took and fully supported me, both mentally, emotionally, and financially as well through those beginning years. And I'm eternally grateful for that, really. I think that was a huge driver for me, that she believed in me and my journey. I'm not really sure where I'd be without that, to be honest. So yeah, very grateful on that front. So the psychological toll at the beginning, I want to talk about this because I imagine it's something that a fair few of you have gone through, are going through, have experienced. How can I put this? So we're told at the beginning of our journeys that only a very select few and a small percentage of people that try to make it in trading do and succeed. As a result of that, I made it my everything. Right? It was everything to me, night, day, weekends, non-stop, right? It was this constant grind, constant pursuit to be that select few, right? To be that small percentage. And obviously at the beginning of my journey, I was racking up losses, right? I wasn't performing very well. I was starting my journey off, right? So naturally I was losing. And I think, it being my everything combined with the fact that I was losing, it was massively negative for my self-esteem because it became my everything, right? So when I was losing, I felt like a loser, right? Yeah, I know it sounds silly, but you really do tie your self-esteem to your P&L, especially in those early days where the work-life balance just isn't there, it doesn't exist, because you're trying to break through, you're trying to find your edge, you're trying to become profitable. So yeah, it was really negative for me at that time. I also just I had no parameters, right? No healthy guidelines on how to operate or how to live as a trader. So, alerts through the night, waking up periodically, so my sleep was affected. Awful habits, right? I advocate from the beginning, just don't do that. Prioritize your health, your sleep, and yourself, right? You are the engine that runs this thing. So make sure you're looking after yourself, you're getting good sleep, you're not chasing moves 24 hours around the clock, because if you operate in that way, you'll have very low energy, you'll have a very low mental and emotional barrier, and ultimately no longevity in your endeavor. So yeah, I was in a negative cycle for sure. No balance in life, relentlessly grinding in every way possible, completely burnt myself out, and as a result was very stressed, right? So stress has been a huge part of my journey. It's something that I've had to become very well acquainted with, and now I have a good grasp on it, I believe, although it's constantly a work in progress. And, mastering the mind and understanding your mental makeup and, reworking with the psychology and the psychological side of things in trading, I truly believe is a lifelong game. But, I'm at a much better place now than I was. But in those early years, I had no grasp. I didn't even know I was stressed, but I was getting wrapped up in a really negative way. As a result, with no coping mechanisms, tools to combat stress or work with it, rather, I actually ended up with gastritis, which is a stomach condition, and it's off the back of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and ultimately, I had no control over what was happening to me. I had to keep grinding. I knew I had to keep going. I had to push forward in my pursuit. There was no off button. There was no break I could take. Any notion of taking a pause was out of the question for me. I wasn't acknowledging any of the negative ramifications of trading on myself, my mind, and my body. And it's something which I deeply regret, because I still have to work with my gastritis, my stomach condition now, even though the damage that was done years ago. And I understand that traders by nature are mavericks. We are quite headstrong people. These are the people that are attracted to the space, and by virtue of that, a lot of us are quite stubborn, and we need to learn through first-hand experience. But I really hope that by talking to you guys, you can hopefully omit some of the negative experiences that I had to endure, because the truth is it really doesn't have to be that way, right? We can look after ourselves, we can live a happy, healthy life, and ultimately we're not going to get there any slower, but we're also going to look after ourselves, enjoy the process a lot more, be happier and healthier in doing so. So why not choose that path? But yeah, the early years were tough, right? They were super tough. Stress, health conditions, lack of a social life, obviously being broke as well didn't help. And, you really just question yourself, right? You really question the path that you're on. Can I do this? Am I actually cut out for this? Or am I just brute forcing something that wasn't meant to be, right? Maybe my genetic or mental makeup isn't well suited to what I'm trying to do, and I'm just banging my head at the wall constantly trying to make it a reality, right? So a lot of self-doubt, a lot of self-criticism, and generally speaking, just a myriad of negative factors taking place, right? That's the reality of where I was. The turning point with it all, I realized that I had to become, firstly, much more systematic, right? Much more systematic in the way that I was tackling my trades and approaching the markets. Placed heavy emphasis on journaling, not just technical and strategic journaling, but also psychology, emotions, self-awareness, and refining my process based on those factors, I think was a huge game changer for me. I think another critical element in that turning point was managing my expectations, right? Accepting that I can do this, but it's going to take a lot longer than I thought, and changing the way that I saw it from a sprint. I think it's better to see it as a lifestyle, and really just, not seeing it as a win now sort of game, but a long-term craft, a lifelong pursuit, and one that I was committed to, but then understood that to be committed for the long haul, I needed to look after myself. Something I did in this time was deciding what I ultimately wanted my life to look like, right? And that was being a swing trader, someone that pressed a button every week or two, really spent minimal time at the screens. I think I realized during this time that I'd begun the pursuit of being a trader in hope to have a lot of freedom in life, but shortly after realized that I was actually more of a slave than all of my other friends that had good salaries, 9-to-5 jobs, and would clock off, right? They clock off at 5 o'clock, go and enjoy their evenings, clock off for the weekends. I was always in that room. All right, so the rewarding side of it all, fast forward a few years, I now live in a different country. I live in the home of my dreams, living a lifestyle which I never thought I'd get to this point. And yeah, truly blessed with my circumstance. Trading gave me freedom, not just financially, but it also gifted me mental freedom in a capacity that I never thought I would have. I know that now when life throws me any curveball, even really difficult situations that occur, I feel like I've been mentally hardened through so many low moments that were so incredibly testing. A lot of my friends didn't really understand what I was going through, of course, but I gave the analogy of being a boxer, right? Being in the boxing ring, getting knocked down, and having to pick yourself back up and walk back in that ring every day. So, as you've probably garnered, the journey isn't easy, right? Anyone that's telling you that it's super easy, if you're on Instagram and seeing any of these crash courses that say become a professional trader in 7 days, yeah, you can forget that, because it's absolutely not going to happen. But if you can survive, it will shape you into someone that you never imagined you could be. People talk about patience and discipline being key traits that one needs to have to make it as a trader. Tenacity and determination and perseverance, those are really the most important, right? Right, how can I put this? By no means am I the sharpest tool in the box, at all. Many around me have been much smarter over the years, much more intelligent. Yeah, I just want you guys to know that you don't have to be a brainiac or a genius to pull this thing off at all. As long as you persevere, as long as you turn up every day, as long as you do your best and really just dedicate yourself to this craft, then you will 100% get there. So yeah, stay relentless. That's my main advice, right? If you're going to take one thing away from this video, keep your chin up, stay relentless, and stay at it. My only regret is that I wasn't kind to myself, right? I was actually really self-critical, and having that sort of self-hate is useful to a very small degree. If I had to quantify it, I reckon I could have used 5% of the self-hate that I was administering, but could have done away with the other 95%. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, even when it seems bleak, right? Just understand that you are hardening yourself, you are growing as a person, and you're inching closer towards your financial goals every day. Every day that you turn up, every day that you journal, every day that you review your trades, every day you backtest, every day you scan the markets, you are inching closer, right? Even if it's a small percentile, you are getting there, right? And over the years, it will all add up. And you just have to remember that, you know, just by turning up, doing your best, right? That's everything, right? You're already doing more than 99% of everyone else out there. You know, if you're still here, if you're watching this video, if you're putting in, you know, hand on your heart, everything you've got, then you will get there. It's just a matter of time. But I do really believe in setting yourself a goal of what you want your life to look like and working backwards from that. What kind of trader do you want to be? How much screen time do you want to be putting in every day, every week? What's the lifestyle that you want to have? I think it was about 3 years into my journey, I wrote down 3 things that I wanted to change about my life, right? And I'm talking about long-term vision. The first was my mind. I needed to take care of myself and my mind and realize that, you know, I wasn't in a good place mentally at all. And I realized that I really had to place way less emphasis on, you know, technical analysis, strategy development, all of those elements, and really start looking at myself and my mental health. So off the back of that, I took up CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. I started meditating, built a proper meditation routine, and really started just looking after my mind. Number 2 was nature. I realized that I'd been completely disconnected from nature for way too long. Living in London, I really wasn't getting enough nature in my life, and it's something that's always been super important to me, and I sort of lost once I picked up trading. And I also knew the benefits of reconnecting with nature and how that would in turn help me reduce my stress, increase my happiness, take a moment in life and really just recharge my batteries. Number 3 was just to take a bird's eye view of where I was and enjoy the process, right? I knew that I'd get to the point where I wanted to be, but I had a feeling that I would regret the self-hate, the dragging myself through the hot embers, and I was indeed right. So, you know, I told myself to enjoy the process, even on the difficult days, even on the challenging days. Take time to take stock, realize that I was doing my best and I can't do anything more than that, and that I'm out competing 99% of people out there simply by turning up, right? So I think a big part of that was practicing self-kindness, you know, really dulling down that inner voice of criticism in my mind and just trying to be way more lighthearted with it all. It's such a serious craft. It makes you become very serious as a person. Find the humor in things, right? You try and approach every day with more lightheartedness, because in turn, that will make you enjoy it more. It will reduce the pressure, which subsequently reduces the stress. And at that time, it was particularly important for me to do so because of my stomach and my health condition. So yeah, 3 changes that I wanted to make and really implement into my life. And I was so hell-bent and so serious on making those changes happen that I actually got a tattoo. Number 1, lotus. That's the symbol I chose for mind and mental health. Number 2, bamboo for nature, and number 3, a mountain and summit for enjoying the process and having some perspective. But yeah, I hope this message reaches anyone out there that needs to hear it. Keep going, persevere, be relentless, but also, you know, take every day with a lighter step, right? Have some humor, find the right balance in your journey, because I guarantee you, unless you are 1 in a million, it's not going to come to you quickly. It will take years. It will take tens of thousands of hours. And don't grind yourself into the dirt trying to get there, because ultimately it will catch up with you, right? It will catch up with you, whether that's mentally, physically, emotionally, socially. And, you know, like I said, this is a lifelong game. It's a lifelong craft, a lifelong pursuit, and you need to facilitate that pursuit in a way that has longevity. So yeah, I hope you've garnered some use from this video. I'd love to hear from more of you as well, about your journeys and what you've had to go through. Trading is a very solitary craft, and the funny thing about it is that we're all going on this journey thinking we're completely isolated and on our own with it, when realistically we're all going through the same thing all across the world, right? So yeah, good to talk about it, and stay strong, keep your chin up, keep going, realize that just by turning up every day, right, you're getting closer to your goals, and everything that you put into this craft will come back to you tenfold. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this new style of video. First time showing my face, so sorry you guys have to deal with seeing my ugly mug. But yeah, catch you guys for the next one. Take care, speak soon.